Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How is everyone doing? Hope you guys are well, in the best of health, in the best of states, as we continue on in our pursuit for meaning. So, last week, a few days ago, we attended the Melbourne rally, as you guys will probably have seen it. It was a pretty, I would say, eventful event. Um, Met many different kinds of people, spoke to many kinds of people, interacted with people of different perspectives. I think it was a pretty positive event. But there's some key things that I learned in the event or learned while speaking to people of different perspectives was one of the main things that I personally believed when I come to a rally is because we are there for a reason. That it has compelled us to be part of this. Is that there is something that within us that is driving us to be a part of a protest as such. And so for me, it was very important that for myself, not speaking for anyone else, that I knew the reasons why I was there. And it's because I formulated my perspectives over many years. And because of the reasons and because of those perspectives, I felt that I needed to be part of the event. And so I decided to create this board. And this board had some questions. And it's questions that sometimes um, are posed by the opposite side, which is the pro-Israeli side, the Zionists. And they will say things like there was no such thing as a Palestinian state, and that the two-state solution is absurd. But some Zionists also want a two-state solution. Those are reasons we can get to maybe another time. But I pose these kind of questions, and because sometimes people might think these questions can be quite contentious, they saw my board and they automatically assumed my position. At the start of the event, this lady, she said to me, "Oh, you're one of those neutrals." I was like, "What? I'm neutrals?" I said, "You." As in my mind, the first reaction was, "Why do you assume I was a neutral?" I think it was very problematic for us to I think it's very problematic that we assume someone's position based on the questions that they ask. It's my belief that any stand or any position that I have has to be formulated with knowledge. This is, I think, a very Islamic injunction that when Allah says in the Quran, produce your proof if you are truly truthful. And I look at most things in my life in that perspective. If you think you're right, then produce your proof. If you think that you are in the right place, produce your proof. Emotions are necessary, but they cannot be the basis of our position, because emotions change, and understanding and reason and knowledge are driving factors to ensure that we have the right position and is free from emotions. Not say emotions are necessary, but it's necessary, but at its proper time and place. It has is standing. As we know, experiential knowledge are not grounds of any real belief or real understandings. It has to come to through reason, through facts, to proof, to proper deductions for us to formulate an understanding. So this is what I had. And so the reason why I posed those questions was because I wanted to hear from others as well. How do they answer these questions? How do they answer these important questions, which I see over watching all of these videos online from the pro-Israeli side? These are the questions that they ask. Now I have those answers for my own self, but how do you formulate these questions? Some people, when they see these questions, they have an automatic defense mechanism. Someone said to me, I think it's yeah, they don't want to interact with this conversation. I don't know what the reason why is. Maybe they haven't thought about it. Maybe they don't want to mention about it. Maybe they think it's a waste of time. Maybe, like one of the people say, I'm asking stupid questions. Maybe, but I don't think so. And I don't think so at all. And while asking those questions, I have heard some interesting perspectives, and I will share with you those perspectives as we go along. But the most interesting conversation I had, and I hoped that I would meet such a person throughout the entire rally, was a pro-Israeli perspective, because I wanted to be able to unpack, or to not to unpack, but to hear firsthand what is the sentiment on the ground, what is their real perspective, how do they think about things. And so how I came about this person was I was ready to pack up and leave. I was on the way back with a brother of mine. Thank you so much for helping out. Couldn't have done this entire thing without him. Thank you so much. May Allah bless you. And we were about to go back to the car, and on the way back, crossing the road, we saw some chaos there happening. And then I was walking down there. I noticed these two people shouting, as you've seen in the video. Um, he was definitely overreacting. She was just passing by, and maybe he was saying that she pasted some stickers on his booth. She clearly didn't do that. It was just her flag that probably hit one of her pots. But how can you blame her? It was the wind. Anyway, he was being over dramatic, and so I decided to just, maybe this my opportunity. Let's have this guy is definitely unhappy. Let's see whether what can I get out of him. So I saw him. He was red. He was shivering. He was shivering in anger, I would say. Not from fear or anything, but real from anger at this lady. So I went in. I decided to have a conversation with him, and I think the there's many things that while rewatching the video that some people might think I should have done, or should have said, or could have done, or could have said. I think there will be many more. Everyone will have their own perspective, but my objective in asking those questions, my what I wanted to get was, at which point can I push him to rethink his position? And I think the biggest highlight is that I asked him, "Do you think you can be wrong?" He said, "No." Impossible. It's almost like an impossibility for him to be wrong. And so this is a very important question for all of us who wants a change in the situation. We need to be able to engage with those kinds of people and be able to create for them a change in perspective, a change in narrative, not by big changes, but small little changes. Just small little changes is all it takes. It might take 5 conversations. It might take 1 conversation. It might take 100 conversations. But we should never give up. We should always find ways to put in a seed of doubt from their position. And that is the only way we can really make a difference. We cannot expect people who grew up in, as this you will hear, a person to change his perspective overnight. It takes numerous conversations for us to be able to change their perspective. And I think it's important for us to look at it in this manner as well. Of course, there are governmental levels where they can make massive differences. But for us, on a personal, individual level, we must be able to understand our position well. And we must be able to go to the crux of the question. And so that was what I was trying to do, was to ask him questions for him and to pose him questions for him to rethink his position. And I think it will not be an impossibility for him to break some of his foundational perspective after that first conversation. So I would definitely want to know what you guys think about it, how I could have done better, and also maybe show me and explain to me if whatever I'm thinking is wrong. And I'm always open for new perspectives, different perspectives, and hopefully a way forward. At the end of the day, the objective is how do we do the greatest good? And personally for me, it starts with one conversation to another. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Assalamualaikum.
What happened? I have been told, one, there's a pity Hitler didn't kill me. I've been told I've had stuff stuck on my thing here that I did not ask for. You cannot say one word to these people and you're attacked. I could be dead tomorrow standing here. Why do you think they hurt you? You are not allowed to have a different opinion.
What opinion do you have, sir?
Because they do not know what they're talking about. These whole demonstrations are orchestrated from above. 90% of the people have no idea what they're talking about. When you say free Palestine, all of Palestine from the river to the sea, this is at the expense of another people. They don't understand that they are calling for genocide. There was a ceasefire. Who broke the ceasefire? The Hamas, the terrorists. Hamas broke the ceasefire.
What if when they say they want free Palestine? What they mean
What
is
they mean is free from the river to the sea. That means all of Israel. They have maps showing the whole of Israel included. The Palestinians, for 100 years, have never accepted compromise. They have only themselves to blame because they never accept any blame for anything they have done.
so. All of this happened because of the people of Palestine. Israel did not do anything at all.
Israel has done, I don't, in 1948, there was a plan to divide the two areas. Israel accepted. One day later, they were invaded by all 6 Arab countries.
Why did they invade it, sir? Do you know?
Because they wanted to throw Israel and the Jews into the sea. That was it.
Could it be that
No, there was nothing. There's no could it be. The United Nations agreed on 2 states, Israel and Palestine. The Palestinians said no. The Egypt, Iraq, Jordan, Syria, Lebanon, all attacked Israel. Without provocation, they attacked Israel to try and throw the Jews into the sea. That was what they wanted to say.
can I share can I share something with you?
Yeah.
When the Palestinians when they were fighting back, the reason that they were fighting back was because in that time the Jews owned 10% of the land, but the United Nations gave them 55% of the land. Let me finish. And then the Palestinians they lived in 100% of the land, and then because of the UN resolution, now they own 45% of the land, and so they resisted. They said no. What do you think? Were they okay to say no?
What do I think? What is Palestine? There's no such thing as Palestine. The name Palestine was given to the whole area, including Jordan, by the Romans. It was called Judea and Samaria. The Romans were worse than the Nazis. They threw out the Jews, obliterated the temple, and called the place, instead of Judea and Samaria, they called it Palestina. There was never a state there. After that, it all belonged to various emperors. The last empire to hold it were the Ottomans, the Turks, from the 1400s, after the Crusaders and all this. There was no such thing as Palestine. They were just sultanates of Turkey. They just were areas of Turkey. There was no such thing as Palestine.
Of course, because there was no such thing as nation states.
There were people that lived there, Jews, Arabs, everything. The only people that call themselves Jews, the only people that call themselves Palestinian before 1948 were the Jews. The Arabs call themselves Arabs. That's all.
Where do you get that idea?
Yeah, so what I'm trying to say, look, there is right and wrong in everything. But what I'm saying is that Palestinians have never agreed in any way to accept Israel as a state.
No, personally,
They could have had the state, including what Jordan took, because Jordan took the West Bank in 1948. Jordan ruled the West Bank from 1948 to 1967. That could have all been Palestine, including Jordan, because Jordan is 60% Palestinian. There's plenty of land. Israel is a tiny country. It's 6 miles wide. Before you get to the West Bank, it's tiny. You know, we're talking about an area that's like the size of Greater Melbourne.
So you find no validity.
I find validity. I have empathy. I have plenty of Palestinians that I used to go to refugee camps. I've been in the Israeli army, but I've been plenty of Arab Palestinian friends. I've been in refugee camps as a guest. I've had them invited to their weddings, and I know them intimately.
So what would be a solution for you?
To remember that 20% of the population of Israel are Arab.
I mean the Americans.
20% of the population.
I understand, but the Americans used to have like more than 20% of the population of black people living in apartheid America as well. So that reason could be very contentious.
No, the Arabs in Israel today, I would say 85% of them are for living in Israel and are fully accepted living in Israel. There is no argument today or problem with them today because they understand that what their enemies.
Basically, they don't resist the Israel army.
Yeah, there's plenty of that. I can show you. You want to see how many Arabs were killed in the night, October the 7th? And since, how many Arab names are in the Israeli army that have been killed?
Those people will. I've seen it. I've seen the report.
Arabs in Israel have more freedom than anywhere you will see Arabs living together. You can go there, they're managing the bank, the National Bank of Israel, the Leumi Bank, the head is an Arab, Israeli. The managers of so much, many hospitals and you name it, they're Arabs.
So does that make?
And I'd say that it's fully integrated as you can could even hope for. And there is no they get on as well as anywhere. Anywhere better than anywhere else in the world. Arabs and Jews get together in Israel, fine.
So the U.S.
All I'm trying to say, Israel managed to make peace with Egypt, with Jordan, with the Emirates, with Morocco. We have very good relations with Morocco. My wife was Moroccan. And the only people who cannot make peace with is the Palestinians, and that's because of their leadership. They are not. They are taught to hate. They get paid for.
There is news. There is videos online that shows that the Israel itself also promote hate against the Palestinians.
That's not true. Look, I don't agree with all of it. We don't always agree with everything. Anytime let me tell you something.
Listen. There are like people in the government who says they want to nuclear bomb the entire Gaza.
That was one idiot right winger. There are plenty of idiot right wingers, and nobody pays any attention to it. It's stupid. It doesn't even. You don't even ignore it. Please ignore this stupidity. I watched from my roof garden I can't remember when, 1980, whenever it was, I can't remember, a helicopter carrying Yasser Arafat. And I saw him landing in the garden of the president of Israel to make peace. And we all thought, this is it. Yasser Arafat come, shake hands with the president. I remember that day, seeing him land. The next day he started the Intifada. I'm trying to say that any time that Israel, I can say Barak, Prime Minister Barak, Prime Minister Omar, they gave the Palestinians 95% offer of everything they wanted. Everything they wanted. East Jerusalem, they gave them everything. It only failed because the Palestinians want right of return for 5 million or 12 million. And
do you think it's not possible?
Of course it's not possible. The country's too small. It's not. You have to compromise. There must be, but they never compromise. They've rejected they really have, their leadership is abysmal. They're being led by Hamas, which is, I don't need to say it's a terrorist organization. If you know exactly what they did in October the 7th, and then they were throwing candy in the streets of Gaza after that, the population, because the population supported them.
Why do you think the population supported them?
Because they want to throw the.
Do you think
there is? I'm trying to. Well, in short, I'm trying to say, the Arabs of Israel accept Israel.
I mean,
the population in Israel accepts Israel.
I understand that. I understand.
We know the Arabs, and we know that, but they won't. They haven't done. They haven't. It's not Israel. We thought we were lulled into believing we were at peace with Gaza. 500 trucks a day went into Gaza from Israel before October the 7th. 500 trucks a day went in. They got.
Is that like a gift? You think it's a generous thing?
No, they got electricity and water.
Why does Israel have the right to determine what goes into Gaza and that goes out of Gaza?
That's a problem. Who's running it? Does Gaza is a terrorist.
So, end of the day, Israel.
You got to understand, it's not black and white. Israel did what it could. We took in 40,000.
Do you think it's possible? Do you think it's possible for Israel to acknowledge the same way like the whites colonials did here in Australia?
Australia is a colonialist state. South Africa is a colonialist state. Israel is not a colonialist state. I have no history to Australia, neither do you. You have no cultural, no religious, no historical claim to being in Australia. None of us. I don't, and you don't. I have every cultural and historical and religious right to be in Israel. You turn up a spade of sand, and there's relics of Judaism. It's there. You won't find Palestinian relics.
How about the Canaanites? Do you think the Canaanites have a say?
Well, the Canaanites don't exist anymore.
How do you know that?
I think the DNA will prove it. Well, look, let's not get into something that's hypothetical.
No, it's not. It's not. I acknowledge it.
Canaanites. I've never heard of anybody calling.
There is archaeological studies which justifies and prove that the people of Palestine today are the same people.
They're not the same. Mostly, how many black Palestinians are there? Black and Negro Palestinians. And they came from Canaanites too. Look, we're all mixed. I don't know where you came from, but everybody is mixed. You want a solution to the problem, it can be all or nothing.
So you say that basically Israel, when they did the Nakba, when they did the massacre in Tantura, they...
Yes. Again, you're spouting things.
No, I'm asking questions.
The people who stayed in the Palestinians who stayed in Israel, I told you what their position is today, 20% of the country.
I mean, 20% of 6 million doesn't mean anything. I mean, 20% of like
2 million, I would say.
it doesn't.
Plus Druze who serve in the army, plus the Bedouins who serve in the army, plus the Christians, some of who serve in the army. And they are living as well as one could imagine anybody living together, multicultural and mixed communities that have so much pressure. If you go to Israel, you will see that everybody, you can sit beside anybody with wearing the full, what I can't remember what you call it now.
Are you Jews, sir?
I'm Jewish, yes.
Okay, then how come, I understand, how come there is Orthodox Jews who are anti-Israel?
It's like a lot of people here, they don't understand. They do not understand.
Do you understand the reasons why they are anti-Israel?
If they're anti-Israel, then I would imagine it's because they feel they may have a guilt complex. Very many left-wing, progressive Jews have a problem because they don't understand. They do not understand the nuances. You got to understand all the nuances. Have empathy for both sides. I have empathy for the Palestinian side, but I come back and I say they have lost every alternative. They have turned down at every chance any possibility of compromise. Egypt made peace, Jordan made peace, the Emirates made peace, Saudi Arabia was going to make peace. They accept Israel, but the Palestinians do not accept Israel under any circumstances, so you cannot make peace with them.
What would you do if you were a Palestinian today? Should we say the same thing?
If I was a Palestinian, I would.
And if it was a Jew who were put in the same situation as a Palestinian today?
Well, the Palestinians put themselves in this position. That's what I'm trying.
Okay, I understand. Whatever you say, whatever the reason may be. If you are a Palestinian, if you are a
I would say enough. We agree. If you look in the news, there are some women who have spoken to Al Jazeera recently and said, "We have no argument with the Jews. Our argument was with Hamas. What they've done to us." Because every life was in that Gaza was okay. It wasn't great, but it was okay. But they could have had. Israel made plans to how to turn Gaza into Singapore.
Why would that be why would Israel determine what happens?
Every reason to make Gaza peaceful and a beautiful place.
Isn't that a definition of an occupied territory because they determine what's going to happen?
Israel evacuated Gaza, took 11 settlements down.
But they control everything that goes in.
No choice because they're in the border. Why doesn't Egypt do more? And Israel would say happily, give it to Egypt to look after. But Egypt wouldn't do it. So Israel had to give the electricity. Israel had to give the water. Israel have to let all the trucks in. Israel let in the workers, not Egypt. So what did Egypt do? Nothing.
Because the Israel doesn't allow the Egypts to get involved.
No, the Egypts can.
Because Sisi.
Egypt.
Because when Morsi was in power, Morsi opened the borders.
Nothing to do with Morsi. Morsi was thrown out by Sisi.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he knew exactly. And Sisi will be very happy when Hamas is gone too.
Yeah. And when Morsi was around, there was flights going in and out of Gaza, and the idea of bombing.
Yeah, well, look.
I want to give you a proposition. I want to give you a proposition if it's possible. Is it possible that you might be wrong?
No.
It's impossible for you to be wrong.
No, because I'm emphatic and I understand the other side, which they don't, and I'm willing to try and find a way to live with them.
How can you find us?
It's not one or the other, and this is what they're out for. It's either you or me. At the moment, it's either you and me in Gaza because in the population of Israel, all the north has been evacuated. 200,000 citizens in the north and in the Gaza's enclave around Gaza are evacuated. They're all living in hotels. 200,000 of the population of Israel had to evacuate their homes. You don't hear about that because of the.
Of course, because Israel create those as buffer zones.
No, not others to protect the population. It's to protect
Those are the IOF, the internationally occupied territories.
In Israel proper, the north of Israel has been evacuated of its civilian population because of the threat from Hezbollah in the north.
Yeah.
The same in all the kibbutzim, in all the areas around Gaza, for 7 kilometers is all evacuated, the towns, to protect the population from rockets or whatever might be. So what I'm saying is it's not all one-sided.
So it's both sided, because on one side you are saying that Israel is trying to make peace, but they are also extending their settler communities. There's violence in West Bank. They are arming the settlers with
The West Bank is Hamas. All the people.
everything is Hamas' fault.
No, yes. Oh yes. At the moment,
That Israel has not done anything wrong to instigate the mentality and the ideology of Hamas.
Hamas's ideology is to destroy Israel, and they said if they can do October the 7th again, they'll do it again and again and again. And I don't know what detail you know what they did on October the 7th.
Yes, I've heard reports of what happened there.
You look at the pictures.
I did look at the pictures.
If you can look at them.
When I look at the 17,000 possible dead children, people in
you know, the dead children and population are killed. You never heard that one terrorist or one armed person was killed. A child includes somebody up to the age of 18. That's the definition of a child, up to the age of 18. I can tell you that at least 7,000 of the 17,000 are people being handling arms or shooting.
Majority of those people, 70,000?
The Hamas Ministry of Health is run by Hamas. There are not one mention of one dead Hamasnik in the 17,000. But believe me, 7,000 of these people were.
I mean, the Israel IDF did the same thing. When they reported the 12,000, 14,000 people who died, they didn't mention the people who they killed themselves. Harrods, actually, from Israel.
Nobody wants this war.
Because you.
If you listen to Israel, the country of Israel is in trauma at the moment. You don't understand what trauma we're in. The whole country is in trauma. Total trauma, and this total feeling of security and self-well-being was gone in an instant. Every day.
Would it be arrogance of Netanyahu?
It's not. Netanyahu was not arrogant. Actually, Netanyahu was actually, if you look at his history, did not do anything arrogant. He toed the line and he kept the peace. He did not do anything. If you look at him, I don't like Netanyahu. But if you look at his history, you'll find that he didn't do anything other than he never widened the settlements. He never did until maybe the last year or so. There's a bit, but they did not grow. In all the years of Netanyahu, he did not do anything. He stopped the violence in Gaza. He made the ceasefire in the last one twice. It didn't, and look what happened. Netanyahu is not actually somebody who's extreme. He's not.
When he put in far right liquid parties.
Well, we can't say, look, he did that. He did a lot of destruction to Israel, and I don't agree.
Okay, anyway, you have a business to run, and I appreciate the conversation. Maybe I'll come around another time.
I do not. These demonstrations remind me of something else. In 1938 in Germany, this chant was Sieg Heil, Sieg Heil, Sieg Heil. I don't know if you know what that meant.
I don't know. Tell me.
No, it was the Nazis coming to power, and it's exactly. I have this terrible feeling when I see these demonstrations.
Could it be they're saying something else, but
No, they're drawing people in, like the unions, who have no idea. They have no idea about.
Only you know, and the unions you don't know.
Believe me, I know way more than the unions. I can tell you that.
All right, sir.
I thought I explained that to you.
All right. Thank you so much. Cheers. See you. Bye bye.